Linking from the last panel, what do you guys need to do, or what do you need to understand from the market? So actually everything that you do can be linked in a way that a media agency can understand to then meet a client brief. Simple question. Who wants to take it?
What do we need to do to facilitate just communication across advertisers, agencies? Well, a lot of it is, GRPs and making digital in terms of comScore much more understandable, translatable across traditional media, offline, print, television, etc. We try and do this. It's just an extra medium. It's nothing completely different. It can be measured in the same way, and it can be certainly translated in terms of performance. One thing as well is how measuring the effectiveness of campaigns online is something that you can actually do much easier than some other media, and that's something that we try and do as a champion of the internet, and we want to do certainly much more in Latin America. So ROI is a big thing. GRPs certainly help, and making new media, making it sort of translated into previously existing concepts.
Sure. I mean, Antonio, you were talking about clusters coming, replacing demographics. Are we going to have to learn a new language of media?
That's exactly correct. And I think the point being is that I wouldn't create a new language for a new media. We need to get used to speaking different languages all the time. And that's what's going to happen more and more. And we need to get ready to live in an ever-changing marketplace. I don't think online is dead, online is alive, and I even skipped one that there was something on also now talking that the search is dead because you're going to navigate through apps. So I don't think we can afford to be stuck on paradigms anymore and saying, okay, that's how it's going to be now, and that's the rule that's going to apply to all. To the first point you make, in IBOPE, what we've been trying to do is to work in understanding for each client what's the KPIs that matters to them, and try to develop products almost on an ad hoc basis to be able to attend and cater to those. Like it happened with the question that came from MPG, the ones that did are very happy, but we find that not enough clients are willing to explore as of now and share data.
And I'll put that to you then, Bruce. Do you think that's if we're continually creating new languages, we'll call them, is it a sustainable and workable model to help agencies, meet their clients' brief if we are reinventing the wheel every year or every 6 months? Do we need a common understanding?
It's funny you mentioned model, because the three panelists that were up here before all talked about their models, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's where the world is moving to, is that everybody's trying to understand all of these different inputs. Audience measurement's only one or a few of those inputs, but obviously they have to be accurate, otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. But I think that's the key component, and it's not just about, at our business, it's, in fact, if I were on the client side, I wouldn't even subscribe to audience measurement services. The only reason why I'd subscribe is to know what I'm buying and selling that inventory for. I only care about the impact. What is the impact that my advertising campaign is having ultimately to move those objectives that I have for my campaign? And I can do that through many other ways now. I don't need necessarily audience measurement to do that. I can measure that in many other ways, and there's many sophisticated ways to do that. And again, with modeling, there's a lot better ways to get at that answer. So I think in a way, it's, we've become beholden to this audience measurement data because that's what we're allowed to buy and sell on. But at the end of the day, it's really, what is the impact of my campaign in terms of increasing awareness, if it's a new brand, purchase intent, favorability, market share, all of these things that are important to me that go beyond just whether or not somebody saw the ad or not.
So we've allowed ourselves to be technologically led by what we can measure, not necessarily what we should be measuring. Okay, I'm going to queue up the question for this session, and I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Does anybody have a question that you want to put to the audience? Sorry, I won't call you an audience measurement panel. A measurement panel. Yes, gentleman here, microphone on your way.
Hello guys, Ed Marbula from PepsiCo Brazil. Thanks for the presentations. I'll try to contextualize my question because sometimes it's been difficult to utilize so many metrics we have. We have the traditional brand health metrics, past 4 weeks for someone like me, etc., etc., etc. Awareness, preference, etc., loyalty, blah, 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 blah. And the CTR is not used anymore. We are, so updated, and we will have great metrics to measure web interaction. My question is, you guys as representatives from great companies and important ones, what's your opinion about this chaos in terms of the great number of metrics and the granularity of metrics? And the second one is, if consumer engagement, because engagement is the word nowadays, probably is the new word after convergency. If consumer engagement is an important metric, what do you believe, or how do you believe we should measure brand engagement, media engagement, and communications engagement? And third question is, if we consider that brand lovers and brand likers are not brand buyers sometimes, or many times, why consumer engagement should be an important metric to be measured?
Right.
Can each one of us take one of the
Do
questions?
you want to try and roll that into one, maybe, and answer the main question of how should we measure engagement?
I'll answer the first question about too much data.
Okay.
That seems logical. And then
I'll take the last one.
My colleagues here can answer some of the others. But the internet in particular is, we all know, the most measurable of media, and it's actually a curse. You mentioned the CTR, that was a problem. Hopefully we're moving away from that. But there really is an enormous amount of data available, and it actually can complicate things. We do understand that. We try very hard as well to educate agencies and marketers and everybody that we work with, just to kind of zoom in exactly on what you're trying to accomplish and focus in on metrics that are relevant. There's lots of things people do online where certain metrics, page views or minutes or something like, it really it's not relevant, just ignore it. It really kind of depends on what business you're in. We do try and build awareness, because this is still a relatively new media. The internet is exploding. There's lots of people, especially in Latin America, who still don't quite understand, and we're really trying to increase knowledge and awareness. So there are lots of data. We understand that we're trying to help our users in zooming in and getting a little bit more specific. And then we'll move on in terms of engagement, yeah?
I was going to take the third one, which is, why is it important that we have engagement if people aren't even buying the products that we're engaging? I mean, I think it's important. We do a lot of work with the film studios, so they're launching most of the studios are launching a new movie every 2 weeks. They're launching a new product every 2 weeks. They have 4 weeks to get that product launched. It has a shelf life of 4 weeks. They carpet bomb in the US and many other countries, the media in that 4 weeks, just saturate it, because they realize that not everybody is going to become aware of this movie is going to go, but they're trying to create an event. They're trying to create an impact with their brand in that period of time that says, pay attention to this. Whether you care about it or not, this is something to pay attention to. And I think as marketers out there and as people who are brand managers, that's what you want to do, whether it's in a 2-week period of time or over the course of the life of the product. So it's important that you engage people, because you want to make your brand an event. You want to make it special. And yeah, you could just target and behaviorally target those people that are going to buy your product, but it has to go beyond that. It really does. And I think that's the thing we often forget, that it's like, do we want to be that targeted and that surgical? Well, you can be, but you miss that point of making this something that's special, that becomes something in the culture that is important. If your brand has cultural relevance, that's particularly important. And again, you want people to talk about it. And a lot of times these people who are engaged and might not buy your product are still going to be the ones talking about it, tweeting about it, posting on their Facebook page. So I think it is important.
Okay, final word on this, and then we'll have to move on to the next panel. But I can sense there's more questions that are going to connect with you guys.
Just go over the second question again.
Second question was really, I think, how should we measure engagement?
Yeah, that's actually the key question, I guess. And I understand why he picked the first one and I picked the third one. But we find, and it goes back, I don't want to just fall into the same rhetoric. We have developed and we've worked in different prototypes to try to establish what's so-called engagement. But there is a sector of the market that actually cares for what's the engagement between the ads and the program. Some of them wants to measure what's the engagement of the user with the media, and some of them between the user and the ads. And I find that we are able, and we have developed prototypes for each one of them, but I don't think the market should expect to have tomorrow a variable called engagement, and it's going to be agreed upon, such as the criticized ratings, because I think the market is just not there for engagement. The ratings came in at a different period. I differ a little from Bruce, and I think it's still key, and it will continue to be a key measure of ROI. I refuse to get into the killing spree that we saw in my presentation, and keep thinking that something's going to come in and it's just the previous one is going to disappear completely.
Okay, lovely. I think we're going to leave it there. These guys are going to be around all evening. Please come and grab them. I can sense there's lots of questions out there, and we could talk for a long, long time, but unfortunately we don't have the time. So put your hands together and thank, please, Alex Banks, MD Brazil, VP LatAm comScore, Tony Wanderley from IBOPE, and Bruce Fenn from Ipsos OTM.